Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Fong, and this is Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer of the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. And you had a question here, so you just recently took the TOEFL test, and you had some difficulty with the independent speaking topic, and here it is. You said you can travel to the moon. Do you agree or disagree? Provide details and examples to support your answer. You said, I don't know how to support the topic with either choice. I'd highly appreciate if you can advise me on this topic. Good question. I would probably say something like this. I would say because of the expenses and my lack of equipment, I disagree with the statement that I can travel to the moon. That's what I would say. And the first part of the speech, I would argue that it costs millions upon millions of dollars to travel to the moon. And I simply don't have that kind of money to do that kind of a project. Now, in addition to being expensive, I also cannot travel to the moon because I simply don't have the equipment or the knowledge of how to use the equipment to travel to the moon. I mean, you have to have a rocket. I can't drive a rocket. Are you kidding me? I can barely drive my car. I mean, I don't know how to use a spacesuit. I don't have that kind of equipment. So I would argue, really based on money and my lack of knowledge in using the equipment to go to the moon, would be the two reasons that I cannot travel to the moon, which is why I disagree with this statement. So that would kind of be how I would answer that question. Of all honesty, I think it's a stupid question. I don't know why the TOEFL's asking that kind of a question. It seems they're trying to make it really difficult for people for some reason. So that to me is not really a fair question. The next one. It says the independent writing is something like this. Nowadays neighbors depend less on each other than they did in the past. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? So, with this writing topic, I would probably agree with this statement, maybe for a few reasons. One, neighbors now seem to have very busy schedules, especially given the fact that many people live away from work. They live in what's called urban communities, so they have to commute. They have to drive sometimes an hour or more to get to work. So that's one reason. Another reason is people in today's society, we have a tendency to move around a lot. We don't stay in any one area for a really long period of time, so we don't know our neighbors that well because of it. So because we don't know our neighbors, we don't depend on them very much because we're afraid to ask them to help us because we don't even know who they are. So that would be another reason why I agree with the statement that neighbors depend less on each other now than they did in the past. And the third reason I might disagree with this statement is if I have problems in my house and I need to fix something, instead of calling my neighbor, I'm probably more likely to find somebody on the internet or in the phone book, a handyman. For example, if my pool needs repair, I'll probably call somebody up who knows how to do pools, and instead of asking my neighbor to help me with the problem, I will probably ask a handyman or a repair person to come over and do that instead of my neighbor. So those would be my three reasons why I disagree with that statement. Again, that's a tough question. I understand where you're coming from. But anyway, I hope I've given you some information on how to answer the independent speaking task that you saw on the TOEFL. Hopefully I've given you some information on how you can answer the independent writing task that you saw on the TOEFL.